covering the opening of the seventh seal. I'm going to be covering Daniel 11 verses 5 to 45. So basically I've got 40 verses to cover. 40 verses. And I asked the Lord to give me simplicity and eloquence to be able to do justice. 40 verses in 5 something presentations. So there's some things that we need to put in place. There's certain things that we need to understand in this message before we go far. Right? I'll put those on the board. Number 1, reform lines. That's why it's key that we follow Brother Ryan's presentations. Because what I'm going to be sharing and what Tendai Matsatsa is going to be sharing hinges upon what Ryan is also sharing. It's connected. So we need to know the reform lines. If possible, people can go through the document that Ryan sent tonight. If you are diligent enough, you can finish it by tonight. So that the next time he comes, you are at par with him and you're basically doing revision. I think it makes it easy. We need to know the reform lines. Because without knowing the reform lines, we're not going to be able to see how history repeats. We need to know Ezra 7:9. Brother Ryan is going to be covering Ezra 7:9. Ezra 7:9 gives us the structure for this message. In Millerite history, Ezra 7:9 was used in the progressive development of the midnight cry. When they discovered Ezra 7:9, it helped them put in place the midnight cry message. And Sister White says that the midnight cry is the exceeding bright light which lightens the path of God's people to heaven. But she says that those people who turned from that light fell to the wicked world below. So, without understanding Ezra 7:9, if we're intentionally not understanding it, it's a rejection of the midnight cry. And the rejection of the midnight cry means you fall into the wicked world below. Right? So it has implications. So we need to know Ezra 7:9. We need to know the number 4. Tendai is going to be talking about the 45th president. But without a correct understanding of the number 4, the 45th president doesn't make sense. We need to know, what else we need to know? What else we need to know? 7 thunders. We're going through the 7 thunders in our devotion. We need to know the 7 thunders. What else we need to know? One more thing. The seals in the company, so we can put them in the 7 thunders because there are 7 thunders. But it's true, the seals, right? Because that's what we're going to be covering. So basically, these things are supposed to be things that we know. Foundation. We need to know history, right? Without a knowledge of history, because remember, I am read the quote, prophecy is fulfilled where? In history, right? So we need to know history. There's a study of history which is not condemned, right? There's some history that we're seeing is important. The French Revolution, all those things. So let's turn to our notes. So I sent notes on the church notice board, and I made a correction because I sent the wrong notes. Then I made a correction, and you will see the correct notes, which says the 7th seal, right, on the church notice board, right? Because my presentations are part 1 and 2 are separate, then part 3 and up to 5 are separate. So if you go to the notes on page 1, there's some things that we need to correctly understand if we're going to understand what we're going to be studying. And the most basic thing to understand is the time of the end, right? I forgot. Daniel 11, 40 to 45. That should have been one of the first. Daniel 11, 40 to 45. Without understanding Daniel 11, 40 to 45, what I'm going to be sharing doesn't make sense. So by God's grace, we're going to cover Daniel 11, 40 to 45. So if you go to page 1 of your notes, the notes that I sent last, where it says opening of the 7th seal, right? For those who have the notes. And I have the time of the end. Then I've got there Daniel 12:9. And Daniel 12:9 says, and he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. So the book of Daniel here we're being told is sealed up until when?
The time of the
end. That's when the book of Daniel is sealed up to, right? And then Sister White says in First Sermons and Talks, page 225 to 226, she says, I just have a portion there. It says, Daniel has been standing in his lot since the seal was removed, right? Daniel has been standing in his lot since the seal was removed. When is the seal removed? At the time of the end. So at the time, when you get to the time of the end, Daniel begins to stand where? In his lot. So she's putting this in the past tense. Daniel has been standing in his lot since the seal was removed. So she's placing the time of the end as a past event. And then she goes on to say, I've got Testimonies to Ministers 115, paragraph 2, which says this. It was the Lion of the tribe of Judah who unsealed the book. Let's read that though. We'll come back to it. It was the Lion of the tribe of Judah who unsealed the book and gave to John the revelation of what should be in these last days. Daniel stood in his lot to bear his testimony, which was sealed until the time of the end, when the first angel's message should be proclaimed to the world. So she's telling us here, past tense again. Daniel stood in his lot at the time of the end when the seal was removed. So the seal is removed at the time of the end. And she says in the same breath, when the first angel's message was to be given. So when does the first angel's message arrive? At the time of the end. Daniel 11:40 tells us the characteristics of the time of the end. It says what? And at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at the king of the north. We're going to study 40 to 45 in depth. But this is talking about atheistic France, the king of the south, pushing or waging war against the papacy, the king of the north. And that's an event that marks the characteristics of the time of the end. So how you know you're at the time of the end is based on the characteristics given in verse 40, which is atheistic France attacking the papacy, which is something that happened in 1798. We'll get to that in detail. But I just want us to know the structure. Right? So she puts that. And then I've got year 7 BC 971, paragraph 4. It says, after these 7 thunders uttered their voices, the injunction comes to John as to Daniel in regard to the little book. Seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered. These relate to future events which will be disclosed in their order. Daniel shall stand in his lot at the end of the days. John sees the little book unsealed. Here's something that I want us to notice. She takes the identical expression, Daniel standing in his lot, but in the previous quotations that we read, she places it in the past. But in this case, she's placing this in the future because she says Daniel shall stand in his lot. So you need to know when Daniel stands in his lot based on history. Because history repeats, right? When did Daniel stand in his lot in the past?
1798.
At the time of the end, which is 1798, but at the time of the end. Therefore, God's dealings with men are ever what? The same. So when Daniel is going to stand in his lot at the end of the days, it has to be when? At the time of the end. So from that quotation, Sister White is telling you that apart from 1798, there is to be a future time of the end. So that silence is an argument, right? In Adventism, when you say the time of the end is 1798, just running through history. At one level it's true, but here contextually, the time of the end is marked as a specific point, based on this quotation. So it's key to put that in place, because some people will debate with you over that. They say you can't say 1989 is the time of the end. We're in the time of the end. But at one level, the time of the end is a point, but at another level, it's a period. But here she says, she connects this with the 7 thunders, and she says, the injunction comes to Daniel as to John, right? The injunction comes to John as to Daniel in regard to the little book. Seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, right? Now, if you look into the book of Revelation chapter 10, when the angel of Revelation 10 comes down, what is he holding in his hand? A little book, right? And when this angel is holding that little book, she is saying that after these 7 thunders uttered their voices, the injunction comes to Daniel, John as to Daniel, in regards to the little book. And then she connects the little book with the sealing up of the 7 thunders, right? So you know, this angel is holding a book open. If something is open, what needed to have happened in the first place? It had to be sealed, it had to be closed, right? Because she's just connecting this with the sealing of the book of Daniel. So when John sees the angel in Revelation 10 holding a little book open in his hand, it means that at this point, there's been a book that's been unsealed, right? And she says in other passages, the book of Daniel is unsealed where? At the time of the end, but where is it unsealed? In the Revelation, right? She says in the Revelation, the Lion of the tribe of Judah is open to the students of prophecy in the book of Daniel. Yes.
Sorry, please repeat that point about how when the angel comes down, he's holding the little book, but it's unsealed at that point when he's holding it.
Okay, when you're looking at it contextually, right? John sees an angel holding a book open in his hand. The books of Daniel and Revelation are one. If this book is open, it means that it had to have been sealed before, right?
Where does it say that the book is open?
In Revelation chapter 10, it says, I saw an angel holding a little book open in his hand. Right, so the book is open. Okay, so from this quotation, we are being told that the injunction that came to Daniel, right, to seal up the book of Daniel, is the same injunction that came to John to seal up the seven thunders. And when is the book of Daniel unsealed? At the time of the end. Therefore, when are the seven thunders unsealed? At the time of the end, because the commandment is the same. And the books of Daniel and Revelation are one. Right? So what you're seeing sealed in the book of Daniel is expressed as sealed in the book of Revelation. Right? But they're emphasizing different things. Right? So once we put that in place, I'll read it again, the bold phrase. Daniel shall stand in his lot at the end of the days. John sees the little book unsealed. So Sister White is telling us that there's going to be a future time of the end. And she's also told us that the seven thunders relates to future events, which shall be disclosed in their order. When she's talking about a future Daniel standing in his lot, she's saying that this is connected with seven thunders being disclosed in the future. But the seven thunders in 7 BC, she says that the seven thunders represent a delineation of events which transpired under the proclamation of the first and second angel's messages, past tense. They transpired, past tense. So the seven thunders at one level are events that happened in the past under the proclamation of the first and the second angel's messages. But now she's saying that they also relate to future events which will be disclosed in their order. Because God is a God of what? Order. What's the order that the seven thunders were unsealed in history? Beginning when? At the time of the end. So if God is a God of order, in which order are the seven thunders to be unsealed in the future? Beginning from the time of the end. And you've got many witnesses from this quotation to nail that, right? So it says, under the proclamation of the first and the second angel's messages. Ryan is going to cover Ezra 7:9, but I'll just tell us, right? I won't get into the depths of it. But the second, when does the second angel's message arrive? I know some people know. April 19, right? Ryan will prove that. April 19, 1844 is the arrival of the second angel. When does the third angel arrive? According to early writings. 22 October, because she says that when Christ moved from the holy place to the most holy place, he immediately sent a third angel with a warning to the world. So 22 October is the arrival of the third. But did the Millerites go through, did they preach the third angel's message?
No.
They didn't, right? Because the Millerite reform movement ends on October 22. Because that's where you have the shut door. That's why she's saying the seven thunders represent events under the proclamation of the first and second. Because when the second ends, the third arrives at the same time. They touch, right? So this is the history of the seven thunders. Seven thunders. From 1798 to 1844. But the third angel's message, what's the warning of the third angel? The mark of the beast. Was there the mark of the beast on October 22?
No.
No, but when is the mark of the beast going to be perfectly fulfilled? At the Sunday law. Therefore, October 22 typifies when? The Sunday law. So this for us is the Sunday law. So therefore, in our time, the seven thunders represent a delineation of events from where to where? To the Sunday law, right? That's what they represent. From 1989 to the Sunday law. Right? Now, let's go back to our notes. I have here a quotation that says, the books of Daniel and Revelation are one. One is a prophecy, the other a revelation. One is a book sealed and the other a book opened, right? So the book of Daniel is sealed. But when John is holding that little book, it's the book of Revelation. Because it's open. That's the book that's open. And it's unfolding the prophecies of Daniel. That's why in the book of Revelation, you see the same symbols that are drawn as in Daniel. Right? Because they are the same line of prophecy. And then he says this, John heard the mysteries which the thunders uttered, but he was commanded not to write them. All that God, next quotation, 17 MR, pages 9 to 11. All that God has in prophetic history specified to be fulfilled in the past has been, right? Has been. All that is yet to come in its order will be. Daniel, God's prophet, stands in his place. John stands in his place. So can you see she continually ties John and Daniel? John stands in his place. In the Revelation, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has opened to the students of prophecy the book of Daniel. And thus Daniel is standing in his place. He bears his testimony, that which the Lord reveals to him in vision, of the great and solemn events which we must know as we stand on the very threshold of their fulfillment. There's something I need to emphasize. Daniel stands in his lot at the end of the days. At the end of the days, right? Is there an end of days in 1998?
Yes.
Which days end here?
The
1260,
2520.
2520, the 1290. Right? You've got the end of days here. But there's a 2520 that ends there. So it's the end of days. Right? When you look into the book of Daniel, one of the principles of this message is that it's always good to look at how the prophet uses the term himself. Right? Immediate context is key. Right? Like in Revelation, when John wanders after the woman, for you to know what wonder is, John uses the identical expression wonder within the same book. Right? It's always key to look at the immediate context of a biblical passage before you try and connect other passages. It's always key to look at the primary application. Right? Like an example is in the book of Daniel, in the book of Revelation, you see 10 kings which give their power unto the beast, right? But in the same book of Revelation, it tells you of a dragon that gives its power to the beast. Therefore, what are the 10 kings? They're the dragon, right? It's connected within the very same book, and it's always key to put that in place. The end of the days, as it's defined in the book of Daniel, I'm not saying you can't do proof texting, but immediate context is key. For specific reasons, it's even key for what we're going to be studying as well. We're going to look at Daniel chapter 8, chapter 11. There's words that you only find within those two books, within that one book, which you don't find elsewhere. Therefore, it makes that word the same everywhere it's used in the book of Daniel. Now, if we go to Daniel chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel chapter 4, what does he do? What happens to him? He's scattered how many times? 7 times. Now, if you go to verse 34 of Daniel chapter 4, it says this. Daniel chapter 4, verse 34 says this. And at the end of the days, contextually, this is the end of which days? The 7 times, which is how many days? 2520 days. So at the end of the 2520, the end of the 2520 is called the end of the days. I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up mine eyes unto heaven, and mine understanding returned unto me. And I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him. When Nebuchadnezzar is receiving understanding at the end of the days. Do you see a group of people receiving understanding at the end of the days in 1798?
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, but it's not only the reformer who understands, is it? It's the people.
Yes.
Daniel chapter 12, the wise shall understand. But in Daniel chapter 12, it says the wise shall understand at the end of the days. It says at the time of the end. And the time of the end is the end of the days. So Nebuchadnezzar is representing someone who's at the time of the end. Contextually, because he's understanding. I know you can put this on October 22 as well. I think you can make that application. And mine understanding returned unto me, and I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion. And his kingdom goes from generation to generation. It's from generation to generation. Now, verse 36. At the same time my reason returned unto me, and for the glory of my kingdom, mine honor and brightness returned unto me, and my counselors and my lords sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom, and excellent majesty was added unto me. Nebuchadnezzar is calling who? His counselors. Who are Nebuchadnezzar's counselors? The wise men, isn't it? But who's one of the wise men? Daniel was one of the counselors. So, at the end of the days, what's Daniel doing? He's standing in his lot, isn't he? Because when you run the phrase standing in the Lord in the spirit of prophecy, it means to fulfill a duty. Right? To do a specific purpose. Daniel chapter 12 says, Daniel shall stand in his Lord at the end of the days. Here in Daniel chapter 4, at the end of Nebuchadnezzar's days, Daniel is one of the counselors that are called. He stands in his Lord at the end of the days. Right? Are you getting it, right? This is Nebuchadnezzar's dream number what? Dream number 2. Nebuchadnezzar has 2 dreams, right? And his first dream is in Daniel chapter 2. This is his second dream. Who else? And this is the only chapter that Daniel didn't write. We know that, right? And Daniel is a prophet, isn't it? Right? Do you see anywhere else in the writings of prophets or a prophet where you have someone's second dream, and in that very chapter it's not something that the prophet wrote?
Yes.
Yes, which one?
Millisecond.
Miller's second dream, and it's in early writings, right? And what's Miller's second dream about? The scattering, right? And he mentions the word, he uses a variation of the word scattered 7 times, right? So you're seeing that this perfectly fulfills. But when you study Miller's dream, you know that Miller's dream takes you to 1989. Because Miller, based on other things, but it takes you to 1989, right? That's where you have Miller's dream. This is the end of the days. So we're trying to establish the time of the end. Now, back to the notes. On mine it says page 1. So, but now we're on page, for me it's still saying page 1, where it says Revelation 5:5. Where it says 5:1.
Okay.
It's 5:1. So we're picking from there. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne, written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. So John sees a book that's sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof. And no man in heaven, nor on earth, neither under the sun, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, right? Because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, had prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the 7 seals, and I heard, and as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, Come and see. So there's a book that's sealed with 7 seals, but only the Lion of the tribe of Judah can open this book. And we read a quotation earlier which says, it was the Lion of the tribe of Judah who unsealed the book and gave it to. It was the Lion of the tribe of Judah who unsealed the book. Yes. Okay. In the Revelation, the Lion of the tribe of Judah is open to the students of prophecy, the book of Daniel. When is the book of Daniel opened? At the time of the end. But we know that we've shown that there has to be a future time of the end from 1788, right? Which I'm saying is 1989, which we're going to prove in tomorrow's study. So when you get to the time of the end, you are having the work of the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Because it says in the Revelation, the Lion of the tribe of Judah is open to the students of prophecy, the book of Daniel. And when is Christ portrayed as the Lion of Judah?
When he's unsealing.
When he's unsealing the 7 seals in Revelation chapter 5. So what Sister White is telling us here is that the work that Christ is doing in Revelation chapter 5 of removing 7 seals begins at the time of the end. Because in the Revelation, the Lion of the tribe of Judah is open to the students of prophecy in the book of Daniel. And when is the book of Daniel open? The time of the end. Therefore, when does the work of the Lion of the tribe of Judah begin? At the time of the end. Therefore, when you get to the time of the end, there are how many seals being removed? 7 seals. When you look at what the pioneers, James White says, I don't have the quote here, but James White says, what Daniel was commanded to seal up is now through the all-powerful mediation of the Lion of the tribe of Judah made known unto us. Right? This is identical. When the book of Daniel is being unsealed, what's happening based on the reform lines from what Brother Ryan was saying to the people? There's a what? Increase in knowledge. Do you receive full knowledge at one point?
No.
No. It says increase in knowledge, right? Meaning it's a what?
Progression.
A progression, right? It's a progression. So when Christ is removing 7 seals, does he remove those 7 seals at the same time? No. He removes one seal at a time, progressively. So when you get to the time of the end, Christ is now doing the work of removing 7 seals. And when you get to the 7th seal, it means that what's happened now?
It's been fully opened.
It's open, it's done, right? It's done. And the argument that we're going to make this week is that Christ is now opening the seventh seal. Meaning he's opening the final light. Right? And we're going to connect it with Millerite history. Right? Meaning he's opening the last piece of truth for us as priests. And that seventh seal, we're going to make the argument that it's open before the shut door. And we're going to use Millerite history to show that. Meaning that the reason that Christ is now opening the seventh seal means the door is about to shut. Is the last piece of evidence for priests to wake up. Right? If we go back to the notes, John has to weep, right? For the Lion of Judah to do this. And Miller has to weep as well for the dirt brush man to come and remove the dirt that's covered the jewels, right? So you're saying it's the same thing. But also, when that dirt brush man is done, what does he tell Miller to then come and do? Come and see. When the Lion of Judah is now opening the seven seals, what does he tell John? Come and see. So Miller's dream is take you to 1989, right? Right. Now we're at this quotation. This is I think I didn't get the reference, but I'll read. Both the prophecy of Daniel 8:14, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And the first angel's message, fear God, give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. Point to Christ's ministration in the holy place, to the investigative judgment, and not the coming of Christ for the redemption of his people and the destruction of the wicked. So she's saying that Daniel 8:14 is connected with the first angel's message. Right? Do you see it? When does the first angel's message arrive in Millerite history? 1798. And what message is opened up in 1798 based on this quote? Daniel 8:14, right? Daniel 8:14 is a message that's open to them. And it's a message pointing to the shut door, isn't it? It's pointing to the shut door because October 22 is the end of the 2,300. And what happens on October 22 to the virgins? The door is shut, right? So Daniel 8:14 is pointing to the shut door, right? And it's connected with the first angel's message. Therefore, when you get to 1989, the message that's opened up is pointing to the shut door, right? That's why the seventh thunder, she says that, we read a quotation where she says that at the time of the end, what's opened is great and solemn events, right? But when you read the other quotation, she says, I think GC 514, GC 390 something, she says that these are great and solemn events connected with what? The close of probation. So the seventh thunders are great and solemn events connected with what? The close of probation. So the message that begins to be opened up at the time of the end is a message which is opening up events that are leading you to the close of probation, right? So, yeah, we have that. Then I have a quotation from Miller. This is Signs of the Times, May 17, 1843. This is Miller's letter to Hines, right? It says, Brother Hines. Miller says this, my health is on the grain, as my folks would say. I have now only 22 boils, from the bigness of a grape to a walnut, right? Walnut. So I think it's spelled wrong in mine is walnut. Says walnut. Looks like an eye. Walnut on my shoulder, side, back, and arms. I am truly afflicted like Job. And about as my comforters, only they do not come.
As many comforters.
And about as many comforters, only they do not come to see me as did Job's, and their arguments are not near so rational. I want to see Brother Bliss. I hope he is right about the termination of the periods. So they understand the period is not a period. But I think not. I will tell you why. If you will examine, you will find all the ceremonies of the typical law that were observed in the first month, or the vernal equinox. Ryan is going to touch on the, first month, the spring, had their fulfillment in Christ's first advent and sufferings. But all the feasts and ceremonies in the seventh month, or the autumnal equinox, can only have their fulfillment at the second advent. So basically what Miller is saying here, Miller is understanding this way before Samuel Snow. And Miller is understanding that the second advent of Christ has to happen in connection in the autumn, right? He knows it has to happen in the autumn. Because he's saying, at Christ's first advent, what was fulfilled were the spring feasts. Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits. Those feasts happen in the spring. But at his second advent, he has to fulfill the other feasts, right? Because remember, the feasts are divided into spring and autumn. There are 4 spring feasts and there are 3 autumn feasts. right? I'm not sure if Pentecost is in the spring, but nonetheless, they are spring and they are autumn feasts. The third month is still spring or summer. Still spring, right?
50 days after.
After Pentecost, so it's still spring. I don't know, we need to look into that. But yeah, I think it's spring. But they are divided into spring and autumn, right? So at Christ's first advent, he fulfills the spring feast. Therefore, the second advent is supposed to fulfill the other feasts, which are the autumn feasts. And part of the autumn feast is the feast of what? Is the Day of Atonement. Right? That's what Miller is understanding, that the second coming of Christ, he was understanding to the second coming is the Day of Atonement. So Miller understands that this has to take place in the autumn before Samuel Snow. So Miller, the reformer, has the complete message there. But Miller is not so specific, so this message needs to be fine-tuned. Right? Miller has the structure, but the Lord is still has to open more light in connection with that subject. Now read the next quotation. This is from Georg Damsteed, Foundations of the Seventh-day Adventists, page 94, paragraph 2. It says this, from Ezra, verse 7, 8, and 9. So Ezra 7, 9 is key. We learn that Ezra began to go up from Jerusalem on the first day of the first month, and arrived at Jerusalem on the first day of the fifth month, in the 7th year of Artaxerxes, BC 457. Having arrived at Jerusalem, he appointed magistrates and judges and restored the Jewish commonwealth under the protection of the king of Persia, as he was fully authorized to do by the decree of Artaxerxes. This necessarily required some little time, and brings us to the point when the restoring having been effected, the building of the street and the wall commenced. The 70 weeks are divided into 3 parts: 7 weeks, 62 weeks, and 1 week. See Daniel 9 verse 25. The connection shows that the 7 weeks were allotted for the building of the street and the wall. They therefore commenced when they began to build, in the autumn of 457. From that point, which is from the autumn of 457, 2,300 years reached the autumn of AD 1844. So Miller, here, this letter is just telling us that Samuel Snow was understanding. This is now Snow, but Damsteed is quoting from Snow. Snow is now understanding that no, the decree, the third decree by Artaxerxes, actually began in the autumn, right? And this third decree begins the 2300 days. Therefore, the 2300 days need to end in the autumn. Right? Are we following? Right? So it needs to end in the autumn. And I think we're going to define that. Okay? Yeah, okay. I think we have that in place. And 20 minutes. Oh. So 457 BC, the Ezra's decree, when you look at it from the context, was passed on the 10th day of the 7th month. That's when the third decree went into effect, which began the 2300 days, which ends on October 22, when the third angel's message arrives. Right? So this is what Snow is now understanding. Now when you look at the work of Samuel Snow, if we're going to put it on a line like this, this is a shut door for the Millerites. Samuel Snow begins to understand Miller's message. His message is not different from Miller. It's an agreement. Snow and Miller are not at variance, right? So if you're going to have a Snow and a Miller in this history, they need to be agreeing. Because one of the things that are going on is that you have other people who think they're Samuel Snow, right? And their message is totally different from whom we understand to be Miller. It's a fact, right? There's a Miller in every reform line. And you know that the spirit of the prophets agrees, right? There shouldn't be that contention that's there. There needs to be some agreement. Either one of them is wrong. And you need to determine who's wrong based on the scripture, right? So once you put that in place, Samuel Snow understands, say, no, Miller, I get your logic. But I think that specifically this 2300 days ends on October 22. Because Miller was just being casual. Like, he just said, so at some point he was not saying sometime in between March 21st, 1843 and March 21st, 1844. But he was correct within the application of the prophetic symbols. But what Miller wasn't understanding was the specific dates. So Snow comes and fine-tunes the message. But which message is he fine-tuning? The reformer gave Miller's message. And when does the reformer when is the message open for the reformer? At the time of the end. Therefore, because what is open, we read that from Sister White. She says that unto 2,300 days was connected with the first angel's message. Because what's open here is the 2300 amongst other prophecies. But the 2300 is open at the time of the end. That's what's open here. There are other things that are open as well. But the 2300 is open here. Because she says that the message that was open was the message in relation to time. Right? That's what's open here. That's the opening of the... So if this is the time of the end, based on what we have said, when did we say the 7 seals begin to be opened? At the time of the end. So the first message that's opened will be the first seal. Wouldn't it be? It will be the first seal. And what's the character of Christ? Based on Isaiah. He illustrates the
End from the beginning.
end with the beginning. What's the last seal? It's the 7th, right? And the first seal is the first. So therefore the characteristics of the 7th seal are found where? In the first seal. So the 7th seal is nothing but a perfection of the first seal. Right? That's why Samuel Snow's message was nothing but a perfection of whose message? Miller's message, right? And when the door shut for the Millerites on October 22, right? 1844. But did Samuel Snow wake up and understand that message on October 22, 1844?
No.
He understands it when? Before. He understands it before the shut door, right? And we know that there are events that took place. There's July 21. This was Samuel Snow gave the midnight message of the Boston Tabernacle. This is when he now goes to the people and says, you know what? Behold, the bridegroom cometh. We're now at midnight. Right? And then at the midnight cry, he gives it again. At the exit, the camp meeting. Right? These are some of the stuff Ryan will touch.
What date was that?
Exit.
Yeah.
Exit was 15 August. You can say 14/15. Because Samuel Snow gives a message on the 14th and a message on the 15th, which is a doubling of messages. Because the doubling is a characteristic of the midnight cry. And he gives 2 messages. August 15 is the message. This message is the 2300 days. Right? He's now understanding it perfectly. You know the exact day when they are terminating. So the message is open to Snow. And Snow gives it before the shut door. Right? Doesn't he? Because October 22 is their shut door. Now, when we come into our history, there's things that we need to factor in. This is 9/11. These are some of the things that we put in place in the next studies. But we have 9/11, we have midnight. One of the basic arguments for that is that Millerite history repeats to the very level. And Sister White says that under the proclamation of the first and second angel's messages in Millerite history, the parable of the 10 virgins was fulfilled. Right? And then she says this parable has been and will be fulfilled again to the very letter. Right? But when the parable of the 10 virgins was fulfilled, there were certain waymarks that were in that parable, weren't they? You had the going forth of the virgins, you had the tarrying of the bridegroom, you had midnight, you have the midnight cry, and you have the shut door when the bridegroom comes to the marriage. So when the parable of the 10 virgins repeats in our time, you need to have these waymarks in place. I'm not taking time to defend the characteristics, but I'm saying 9/11 at a most basic level, which angel arrived on April 19?
The second.
The second angel's message. And what's the second angel's message saying? Babylon is
Fallen is fallen.
It's fallen, it's fallen. But Sister White in Life Sketches 4:11 talks about the great buildings of New York falling. Right? And we know that the great buildings of New York fell when? At 9/11. And when these buildings of New York fell, she says which words will be fulfilled?
Revelation 18.
Revelation 18. And what's the message of the angel of Revelation 18? Babylon is fallen, is fallen. So the angel of Revelation 18 is repeating which message?
The second.
The second angel's message. So 9/11 was the arrival of the second angel's message. So you already know that upon 2 witnesses, Millerite history is repeating. Because Millerite history at the time of the end, and we have the time of the end. It had a second angel, we have a second angel. Therefore, everything else that follows has to fit. Right? Because I'm not defending it now. So you need to have midnight. You also need to have the midnight cry. The midnight cry, and you need to have the Sunday law. Because we've already shown that October 22 typifies the Sunday law. Right? But the dynamics with this now are this. They are what you call fractals. Right? They are what you call fractals. And A simple explanation is this. According to Revelation 11, on October 22, what happens in the temple?
Opening of the
The
temple.
temple is open, right? The temple is open on October 22. If you read when Sister White is commenting on the vision that Isaiah receives in the Bible commentary, I don't have the quote, but Sister White says the vision of Isaiah illustrates the condition of God's people when what happens? When the temple is open, when they by faith are permitted to go into the most holy place. Right? So Isaiah chapter 6 is illustrating the opening of the temple. But in other passages of scripture, of the quotes, she says that study the book of Ezekiel chapter 1 and chapter 2 in connection with Isaiah chapter 6. She says you can't separate Ezekiel and Isaiah. Right? You get what I'm trying to emphasize. Study Isaiah in connection with Ezekiel. And Ezekiel sees his vision on the 5th day of the 4th month. If you look at the calendation, in Millerite history, July 21 was the 5th day of the 4th month. Right? If you're going to line up the Gregorian calendar with the Karaite calendar, the 5th day of the 4th month would be equivalent to July 21. Ryan, I'm sure Ryan will show that. It was that. But even in Ezekiel's time, it was actually July 21. The presenters who've covered that. I don't have that aptitude to teach it. I struggle. But it's the same, right? It was July 21. So if the temple is open to Isaiah on... If the temple is open to Isaiah, right? Isaiah is not open to him on July 21. But she's saying, she's connecting Isaiah and Ezekiel. So Isaiah's vision is the same as whose vision? Ezekiel's vision. Therefore, if the temple is open to Isaiah, who is it also being opened to? Ezekiel. So Ezekiel chapter 1 is illustrating the opening of the temple. And on October 22, what happened to the temple?
It was open.
The temple was open, and which angel arrived here?
Third.
The third angel. Therefore, midnight at a fractal level, meaning at a smaller scale, is the third angel's message. Is October 22 for us. Is everyone getting it? At a smaller scale, this is the third angel for us. Right?
Yeah.
So this is the arrival of the third angel's message for us. This is the shut door for us. Yes.
Is that based on the opening of the temple to Ezekiel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's connected to Isaiah. And the temple is opened on the 10th day of the 7th month. When the 2300 ends, when the third angel arrives. Therefore, the third angel arrives for one group of people at midnight. Because midnight is the 5th day of the 4th month. So here's the third angel's message arriving. Now, we know that who knows that the last 3 kings of Judah typify the 3 angels' messages? We know that. I'm sure 99% of us can. Okay. 99% of us know that, right? Joachim, Joachim, and Zedekiah. Right? The first angel's message, until a message arrives and it's empowered. When was the empowerment of the first angel's message in Millerite history?
11 August.
11 August 1840. Or you are hearing us? Is that a question? Oh, okay. 11 August
1840.
1840. Because what happened here, there's a divine symbol that came down, reform lines. And when a divine symbol comes down, it's to empower a message. Here, Sister White says that the correctness of the principles of prophetic interpretation adopted by Miller and his associates were seen to be true. So the first angel's message is a message based on time, isn't it? For the Millerites. But for them to prove to the people that they're giving a prediction that Christ is coming, that 2,300 days is actually 2,300 years. They need to use those principles, and those principles need to be confirmed before the people. So they take the 391 years and 391, I want to put it in the literal. The 1 year, 1 day,
A year.
a year, a day, and a month, and an hour. And they see that, okay, this cannot be literally a year, a day, a month, and an hour. Because that would be 391 days and an hour. So they realize that those 391 days and an hour are actually 391 years and 15 days. They use the year-day principle. And when they use that principle, they're predicting that Islam is going to be destroyed on August 11, 1840. And when you get to August 11, 1840, what happened to Islam? By how many powers? 4 European powers. So you've got a restraint on Islam in connection with the number 4. 4 winds are held. When you get to 9/11, who strikes the great buildings of New York? Islam. And one of the characteristics of Ishmael, it says that Ishmael shall be a wild man, his hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him. Who's every man? The whole world. What's the symbol of the whole world in the Bible?
Number
4 corners of the earth.
4
Right?
winds.
Christ is going to gather his people from the 4 corners of the earth. It can be 4 winds, and the number 4 represents worldwide.
Okay.
So when you get to 9/11, Islam struck. And where did George Bush go to begin to put a restraint on Islam? He goes to the United Nations. And the United Nations is a worldwide
Worldwide.
power. So Islam is restrained in connection with the number 4, worldwide. And they begin to freeze bank accounts in Afghanistan and look for Bin Laden and stuff. Right? And in the life of Joachim, whom I'm saying is the first angel. Because the first angel arrives here, but it's empowered here. It's the same message, right? Right. So Joachim, in his life, what does Joachim mean?
The Lord
Jehovah
arises.
arises, right? And when the great buildings of New York come down, Sister White says, terrible things shall happen when the Lord shall arise to shake terribly the earth. So Joachim, first angel, the Lord arises. And in the life of Joachim, was there a restraint placed upon him at some point?
Yes.
Yes. In 2 Kings chapter 24, there are 4 bands of enemies that are sent against Joachim. The Moabites, the Syrians, the Edomites, and the Ammonites. So Joachim is restrained in connection with the number 4. And when you study the document by one of our brothers, which talks about the last 3 kings of Judah, what is Joachim doing in his life that the Lord didn't like?
Was erecting large buildings.
Building expensive buildings. Were the expensive buildings being built at 9/11? Yes, that's why they came down. Right? They were expensive and they were oppressing the poor. So you have Joachim here, but what's the dynamic in our time about the first and second angel's messages?
Combined.
They combine. Sister White has a quotation which says our great work is to combine the first angel with the second angel. Because we've already shown that April 19 is the arrival of the second angel, typifying 9/11. But you're also seeing that 9/11 has been typified by August 11, 1840, because of the restraint placed upon Islam. Therefore, 9/11 is also August 11, 1840. So you're seeing the empowerment of the first angel and the arrival of the second angel blend at 9/11. Right? And who's the second king of Judah? I'm about to finish.
Joachim.
Joachim. And what does Joachim mean? The root word. I want the root word. The root word. To tarry. What happened when Israel left Babylon? Okay, no. What happened? Okay, this brother Ryan is going to show that this is the tarrying time, April 19. But when you read Sister White's comments on when Israel left Babylon, what did he do when he got to the river Ahava?
He tarried.
He tarried. So in connection with the first day of the first month, you see a tarrying time. The Millerites were expecting Christ to come on April 18, 1844, but he didn't come. And the following day they were disappointed, and they realized that they are in a tarrying time. So you can place Joachim here. And the third king is Zedekiah, right? And what does Zedekiah mean?
To cleanse.
To cleanse. In Millerite history, when is the temple cleansed? 22 October, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be
Cleansed.
Zedekiah, right? So Zedekiah, in what age arrives on October 22?
The third.
The third. Therefore, Joachim, and Zedekiah illustrate which angels?
First, second.
First, second, and third. But if you're going to bring it to the fractal of the priests, where would Zedekiah be?
Midnight.
At midnight, because that's our shadow, right? How old was Zedekiah when he was made king? 21.
Oh,
Yes, 21.
21
On
July.
what day was midnight given in Millerite history?
21 July.
July 21. Zedekiah is 21. When this is put in place. So I just wanted to lay that structure. I can't. I've got 5 minutes. I couldn't go into the depths of all of that. I hope I'm not going to be too fast for you. Because most of this is revision, right? We know that, right? For 99% of us who've been coming to the Sunday studies, we've gone through this back and forth, right? There's revision, but nonetheless, there is revision. There still needs to be an understanding so that people get it, right?
Amen.
Right. Okay. So within these 5 minutes, we've laid a structure. So for the priests, 1, 2, 3, right? For the Levites, it's complicated. But at a big picture, you can do this. 1, 2, 3, right? But when you're dealing with fractals, you need to determine based on which group God is dealing with at that time, right? Based on the fractals. So, part of what we are going to study hinges upon a correct understanding of midnight, the midnight cry, and the Sunday law. And we're going to look at it from the perspective of Daniel 11, 40 to 45. So what I'm saying is this: if this is our shut door at midnight, that's the last point I want to make. If this is our shut door at midnight, which was typified by the shut door on October 22, Samuel Snow understood his message when? Before the shut door, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't Snow understand his message? Before the shut door. That's when which seal is open?
The seventh seal.
The seventh seal, the complete seal. Therefore, for us, when is the seventh seal supposed to be open?
Before midnight.
Before midnight. And when it was open for the Millerites, were they not close to October 22? It was in the same year. I know for what time is no longer, but it was in the same year. Just showing you that they were there. Right? Therefore, for us, if this seventh seal is being opened, it means that we're just before midnight. I'm not saying we're in the same year, we could be, I don't know, God knows. Right? But I'm saying we're close. Right? We're close to midnight. And in closing, Samuel Snow's message hinges upon an understanding of Ezra 7:9. And Ezra 7:9 contributes to the development, the progressive development of the midnight cry message. So what Samuel Snow was giving, he was giving the midnight cry to the people progressively. He gives the midnight cry before the shut door. Therefore, for us at the prophetic level, when the seventh seal is being opened, you can relate to it as the midnight cry message being given to the priests before our shut door. And Sister White says that the midnight cry is an exceeding bright light, right, which lightens the path of the people, right? But in early writings, I don't have the quotation, but in early writings, she sees a vision, and in the vision, she sees Christ wave an exceeding bright light to the people. But she sees two responses. One class immediately resists that light, immediately, and one class accepts it with joy. Right? So when that light is open, there's an immediate response. Right? You're going to show that when our seventh seal was opened, that very thing happened immediately. Right? In our time. So there was an immediate response, right? But then she says, after this light has been opened, she sees Christ now moving from the holy to the most holy place. She sees October 22. But October 22 for us is midnight, isn't it? And when Christ is moving, what does the high priest need to have on his garment? A bell and a pomegranate. But she says, I saw in this garment a bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate. What's that?
Doubling.
It's a doubling, right? Can you mark a doubling at midnight? Yes, we can. We'll show it in other studies. So in closing, Daniel 11 is what we're saying is the opening of the seal. And we're going to show which part of it. But what does the number 11 represent? The falling away. Right? How many? Which disciple falls?
Judas.
Leaving how many?
11.
11. So when Daniel 11 is being opened up, we're in the time when there's a falling away. Daniel 11. So it's a profound thing for us to get. Let's pray.